Hi there. You're listening to a podcast of three family members. We call this Butterball. We're talking ball, we're having a little family banter, and we're having a ball. My name is Scott.
Hey y'all, I'm Nicole. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Butterball Podcast. We post clips on there and other funny updates. So give us a follow on Instagram at Butterball Podcast.
I'm Drew, and you can watch us on YouTube at Butterball Podcast, or listen to us on Spotify and just search Butterball.
Well, since the Olympics have been in the news for the last several weeks, they closed with a bang. There was a lot of great action, a lot of good stuff to talk about. Let's just look at the medal rundown. We'll talk about the medal count a little bit. So Norway had the most medals at 41. The USA was number 2 at 33, and Italy, which was third at 30. Kind of nice that Italy had 30 medals in their home country there. That's probably good for the folks at home.
I'm kind of surprised by Italy, mostly because I only watched the hockey and they were really bad at that. So what did they win their medals in?
Italy won. They were pretty spread out. This is interesting because, like, when you look at, let's look at the top three. Norway, 41 medals, and 33 of their 41 were 4 events. They had 11 in the biathlon. They had 14 in cross-country skiing. So they dominate those two sports. That's 25 medals there. Then they had 5 in the ski jump and 3 in the Nordic combined. So Norway has the most medals, and they're in events that I don't know how many people watch them. I don't know. You guys watching those?
Does it matter if you're watching them, or does it matter if you're getting the most medals in the Olympics?
Well, it matters to them for sure. To me, not so much, because I was watching other stuff.
I heard an interesting thing about Norway. I don't know if this is true or not, because I heard it through the grapevine, but they don't let kids compete in sports until they're 12 years old. Did you guys know that?
Well, they'll never have a good hockey team then.
That's what I said too. But it makes them really good at everything else. So
yeah, they probably consider, well, let's go cross-country skiing as not competition. It's just recreation, right? So start them young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's Norway. The USA and Italy both, they had a pretty spread coverage of what they won their medals in. So you asked Italy, they were number 3 at 30 medals. So the most they won in any one event, they had 5 in alpine skiing and they had 5 in speed skating. And then they had medals in biathlon, cross-country skiing, 1 in curling, figure skating, luge, short track speed skating, snowboarding, and free ski. So they were pretty versatile there, which was kind of neat to see. The U.S. also, a lot of versatility there because there's a lot of medals in various events. They had the most in freestyle ski at 8, and then 4 in alpine, 3 in bobsled, 3 in cross-country ski, 1 in curling, 1 in luge, 1 in short track speed skating 5, hockey, obviously 1, both of them. We'll get to that a little bit later. So a pretty diverse spread. I kept hearing that this was the record amount of medals, 33 medals. So I thought, let's chat GPT it and see what's the most medals ever won. And so I showed this to Mom earlier today, and I asked ChatGPT, what's the most medals the U.S. has ever won in the Winter Olympics? And it said 33 medals in 2026 Olympics, and 12 gold, 12 silver, blah, 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 talks about it. Okay, great. Then I asked, how many medals did the U.S. win in 2002? 34 medals. Well, that's more than 33. So that's kind of confusing. Then I asked, how many medals did the U.S. win in 2010? 37 medals. So ChatGPT was a little off there. I don't know why, but I think that the story is the U.S. had 12 golds, which is the most ever, and 2 of the golds were the team sport of hockey, which they've never done before. So, this was a hugely successful Winter Olympics, probably the most successful ever when you look at it that way. And it was awesome to watch.
Okay, well, sidebar, this is why ChatGPT should not be a trusted source of information. And I
Okay.
say this to the students that take my class all the time because we cannot be trusting this thing to give us all of the answers out there.
I'm with you on that. So anyway, very good showing by the U.S. I mean, the 2-team wins in hockey, just super superior. Let's look at each event by event, though. I'm going to give you guys a quiz and see if you know or what you think about each of these sports. So the alpine skiing, that's downhill, slalom, giant slalom, the very fast stuff. Who do you think had the most medals of any country in that event?
The USA, because we have the most mountains.
No,
Yeah, I'll go United States.
not Switzerland. Hey, so
Okay, they have a lot of mountains too. All
well, they
right,
do.
that's
Yeah,
fair.
there's something called the Swiss Alps and all that kind of stuff that I think people like. So, hey.
Yeah,
Okay, biathlon.
Where are the Swiss Alps again? Oh.
Maybe in Switzerland.
Just kidding.
ChatGPT it.
Yeah, let me. Good point.
All right. Biathlon. Who do you think had the most medals there?
Norway.
Well, I would have thought the same thing, but they had 11, but France had 13. So, hey, go figure.
Okay.
The French know how to ski and shoot. All right. So, bobsled. Come on.
Italy.
Did you watch any of it? No.
I did not watch much bobsled, I'm gonna be honest.
Germany's all over the bobsled. They rule that.
Some of us
Cross-
have a job. We can't just sit at home and watch the Olympics all day.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm helping you out. So 4 years from now, you'll know what you want to tune into. Cross country skiing. Who do you think rules that roost?
Norway.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got one.
So here's an interesting thing. I won't even ask you curling because curling, the most medals won by any one country was 2, and you had 3 of them: Sweden, Canada, and Switzerland. So there you go. They're the tops in curling. U.S. was right there. They won a medal. So kudos to that U.S. team, and those folks in Duluth, Minnesota. Figure skating. Who do you think had the most medals in figure skating?
China.
The U.S.
Japan. I found that interesting. I don't know why. I mean, I guess that the Winter Olympics were in Japan too. So hey, they have mountains and snow and ice, and that's something they zeroed in on. Free ski. This is the half pipe and big air and all that stuff. Who do you think won the most there?
The
Italy.
U.S.
China. And you had Eileen, Eileen Gu won 3 of them. So
Yeah,
they had
really
9
good.
medals. They had 9 medals total. The luge. Okay, now think bobsled. Who do you think might be good in luge?
I already forgot who we said for bobsled.
Germany. We said Germany.
Hey, there you go. Okay, good. All right. Who do you think in skeleton? Another sledding event.
Germany.
There you go, man.
I actually saw that one.
So the
Yeah.
Germans, they know their sleds. They'll ride them inside, on their backs, on their stomachs. It doesn't matter. They like to fly on sleds. That's what they do, and they're good at it. Ski jump.
America.
China again.
No way, America. Come on. It's Norway.
Oh.
How about snowboarding?
USA.
That's where my head would have been too. Not even close. Japan. 9 medals. They had 9 medals.
They won skateboarding in the Summer Olympics too, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they must really like that type of action. There's
Yeah.
a similarity between the two. So there must be a youth movement there. I don't know, because they start them young. And then speed skating.
The Netherlands.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ruled 13 medals.
Utah.
Yeah, so it's just super interesting to see like which countries are a little bit more diverse or which ones are really dialed into some things. And then obviously hockey, which is near and dear to us that we love watching. The U.S. won both the golds. That was one of the craziest things that anybody's seen in yours or my lifetime. when it comes to hockey. So we'll get to that in a minute. There are some athletes that we talked about a little bit in past weeks. Nicole, you mentioned Michaela Schifrin. She ended up winning a gold.
I'm just happy for her. So like in the last Winter Olympics, she struggled with a mental block, and mental blocks are so interesting. Just to remind the audience, I wrote my master's thesis on mental blocks or the yips, and so I even mentioned Michaela Schifrin in one of my intro pages, because it's just so fascinating how these things happen. So like last Winter Olympics, she had a few tough spills. She was very open about struggling with it. Then she had a good run. She posted on Instagram saying like, you know, the girl who fell can also fly, or something to the nature of like, I'm back. And then in the next race after that, like again spilled and messed up. So I mean, like, mental blocks are just fascinating because like she thought she was over it, posted on Instagram, and then clearly wasn't. So I don't know. It just goes to show that like they're so much more complex than even we give it credit for. And I think we saw that with Ilya, our men's figure skater, as well. And we've heard Simone Biles speaking with him publicly. So I just love seeing all the Olympians being so open about it because it's such a complex thing that needs more attention, more research on it as well. So I'm happy that she, figured out her path to the gold despite all of that. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, I mean, and on the flip side of that, I don't know, it was a mental block when Alyssa Liu, which is like kind of like the opposite of Eileen Gu when you look at where they're at on the Olympic, participation spectrum. Eileen Gu is the U.S. person that's competing with China, and Alyssa Liu was the figure skater that very similar story, daughter of a Chinese immigrant, and she was like a superstar at like 13 and just got burnt out. And she walked away from the sport at like 16 and then decided, all right, I'm ready to come back. And her coach was, well, I don't know if this is a good idea and everything. And she came back. And the cool thing about her is she came back and said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it my way. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm going to train the way I want to train. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the ride. And she won 2 gold medals. That's amazing,
That's
especially at 18.
huge.
At the age how young she is, and to have that mental presence to do that, I think that's incredible.
For a sport like figure skating, even gymnastics, like any of those types of very performance based sports where they care a lot about appearance, like her winning 2 Olympic gold medals and doing it in her style is actually like a really big deal, in my opinion, for like where we're at as a society. Like, that sounds really deep, but like, all of this has been very, very like regimented and determined for people in gymnastics. Like, it used to be the norm to not even wear your hair in any cute way, or like you had to have no makeup, no nail polish, like this is just insane that like we've gotten to the point where now we can like have some personality and like be ourselves. It's actually kind of a big deal.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think you see that across all sports. I mean, if we get off topic a little bit, Drew, Major League Baseball, the home run trots and the celebrations they do now would have drawn you a beanball
Oh yeah.
in right?
Yeah, or a charging from the pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable how much more lax everything's at, which is fine, if we're gonna celebrate and, celebrate all this stuff, that's good. The experiences that the figure skaters showed, Alyssa Liu and even and the Ilya, and like you said, opening their hearts and just basically telling people what's on their minds, I think is great because people always wonder that. Oh, I can't believe this person can't do that. I wonder what they're thinking. Well, they're telling you now, so listen to them because it's kind of interesting, I think. Right. So then we get to hockey, which the this Olympics for hockey was obviously the absolute best for the United States ever. I mean, women's hockey didn't exist back in the early 1900s and mid 1900s, but since it's been in play, the U.S. has been there. The team they put out this time was amazing. They ended up coming through the gold. The men, obviously, we thought, you know, they were the number 2 team going in, and they got it done too. And so what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the women's hockey or the men's hockey?
Talk about the women's first.
All right. So the women's hockey, you know, they completely, when you just look at the pure stats, they dominated. They outscored their opponents like 30, what was it, 33-2 or something for the whole Olympics.
Mhm.
However, you get down to the gold medal game, they're playing Canada. They beat Canada 5-0, but that gold medal game was 2-1. That was a nail biter. Did you both watch that?
I did, yeah, and I know we were talking about it before, it's hard to beat a team twice, and
Yeah.
you definitely saw that in that game. I was a little nervous for them, but the way that they dominated all tournament long, I wasn't surprised to see them come back and pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, the shots on goal was very close. I think it was 33-31. The US had a couple more shots, but man, there were stretches where it looked like the US was in control and then Canada would be in control, and it was back and forth and back and forth, and it was really, you know, you were like, man, I don't know how this is going to turn out. You know, and the US trailed the whole time. They ended up pulling their goalie with a couple minutes left. So they're going with an empty net, extra skater on, and they come through with a goal then at the end of the game to have it even get to overtime,
I think
which
it
is
was with,
amazing.
like, 2 minutes left, right, that they
Yeah,
scored? Mhm.
yeah. I mean, that in and of itself is, you know, just you're down to like your heart is like jumping out of your chest, I'm sure, if you're the coach or anybody that's on the team. I was as a spectator. Uh,
In my, at my office, we have TVs hung up, and you just hear a loud, "Yes!" as soon as they scored with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Everybody was glued to it.
So the women had some great performances throughout the Olympics because their team was so dominant. Hillary Knight was a big story because she was the point scored the most points, scored the most goals for the team, and in the history, I think, for their team.
Mhm.
Megan Keller scored the golden goal, which was that's pretty cool. Scored a golden goal. You know, you score in overtime, win in overtime. But the man, that goaltender, she was unreal. Her name was Erin Frankel. She had several shutouts. I think she had 100 shots on goal over the last 3 games, and she saved 99 of them. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Only gave up 2 the entire tournament is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. It was such great performance. Very cool to see. Um, I was scared though when they went into overtime because 3-on-3 is so anything can happen, you know, because they're so good that if there's just a little bit of slip up in coverage or something, now somebody's on a breakaway and it could be over, you know.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, you kind of saw it both ways, and you really need that goaltender to come through. And I think the U.S. goaltender in the women's side came through, and then now if we're talking about men, Connor Hellebuck was unreal for the United States men's team. Eh,
Well, first of all, you didn't even let me get my piece out about the women's hockey. The women's clip that I saw on social media was Team Canada being handed these little stuffed animals as they lost or as they were getting awarded their silver medals, and they all looked so freaking pissed as they're being handed their stuffed animals, and that was my favorite clip from the women's hockey match. So
Well, that also happened on the men's because on the men's when they get
Oh,
to
yeah.
McKinnon, did you see that? Because he actually does an eye roll, a very like subtle eye roll. He's like, "What
all
the
of the
hell is
women
this?"
did it. All of the
Yeah,
women did it
yeah.
too. It gets progressively worse as you go down the line.
Yeah, silver medal, okay, I can live with that, but give me a stuffed animal now? I mean, I'm not really into that.
I
That's
loved that.
it's I thought it was I mean, I get it. It's their symbol or whatever, but really? You can't like put these
It's
in their
such
goodie
bad
bags?
timing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. That's bad timing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. "Oh, here, hard-fought game. Let me give you your medal first." And they're kinda going, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." "Oh, wait, we still have a stuffed animal to give you." "Oh, God, I feel
This
so
made
much
my day
better."
better.
Yeah. God, well, I guess this wasn't such a bad loss. Whoa, you know.
How many do you think got left in the Olympic Village and did not make the flight home?
Well, anybody that doesn't have kids was probably like, "Do you want this?" You know, I mean, right? You
I'd
know.
sell it on eBay.
And
Well, the men's hockey game, man, the first period, the way it started out, I was like, "Shit, this doesn't look good." And then the U.S. scored first, and so they're leading, but they're getting outshot. But by the end of the first period, it was kind of even. And then for the next two periods, Canada dominated. If we didn't have Connor Hellebuck, we would have been done.
The coping that I've seen from Canadians on the internet it's wild. They I'm seeing like Photoshop banners of like we outshot them the whole game. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
well,
Well, I mean,
Sidney Crosby didn't play, so do you think that had anything to do with it?
no, not. I mean, maybe a little, but I mean, everybody's important. But
He's
Canada has plenty of good players.
he's definitely a leadership
Yeah.
part of that team, but they have the three fastest skaters in the world without him
Yeah.
still.
Well, yeah, and
So
they had 42 shots on goal. They just couldn't get it by the goalie. And what we talked about leading into the Olympics was the U.S. has the best goaltending in the world,
oh yeah.
and we saw that from Hellebuck. We didn't see it from Swayman. He only got one game. Ottinger didn't even play. So, I think they got into it and they're like, well, it looks like Hellebuck's doing pretty good. So let's just leave him in there. And he
Mhm.
was awesome, and that's a huge difference maker.
Yeah, especially the way they won their games in overtime in the last couple. I hate to say it, but they couldn't have started Ottinger or Swayman. You needed Hellebuck in there. Those games probably would have
Yeah.
been lost as well.
Yeah. Which, do you know Hellebuck's story at all?
Not, not really.
So he grew up in Michigan, and I don't know why. I don't know if his family couldn't afford it, or if it just wasn't the right timing or whatever. But he never played Tier 1 hockey as a teenager in the U.S. Never played it. He played locally, played for his high school, and he was just going to play, and he played. And then he went to the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, and he became their goalie. I think he got benched there at one point in time and stuff, but that's Division I school, so he made it to Division I, even though he didn't play Tier 1 hockey in the U.S., which is, it's not easy to do. I think he went and played junior hockey. He played for I think it was the Odessa Jackalopes in
Yep.
Texas. He
Yep.
played for
Nice.
them, yeah, as a junior hockey player, and then played Division I, and then obviously kept progressing, and now he's the best goaltender that the U.S. has to offer. It's a great story. I mean, it's
He's
just
the best goaltender in the league, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's another one of those good stories that, hey, you get a lot of parents that think that their kid has to be on the Tier 1 baseball team or hockey team or whatever, and man, just get them out there playing. Get them out there playing, and of course, competition matters and competition levels matter, but still, as long as they're playing and they're getting game experience and stuff, I think that's super important.
The most cited example is Michael Jordan was cut from his varsity basketball team.
Yeah. 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 I mean, not
Everybody
everybody
says that.
not everybody starts out a superstar, so yeah.
I think the photos that I'm seeing of Jack Hughes with the broken tooth and chewing on the metal, those need to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They do.
100%.
Oh yeah. I mean, this win for the US, I know that hockey's progressed since the 1980 when the US won the last gold medal. I mean, and that was truly a miracle because at the time they were amateurs, they weren't even pros, and they beat the Soviet, which were their pros basically back then. But you see where hockey's come from then till now in the United States, and how many more players play in the NHL and are top players and so on and so forth. But still, if you use the professionals from Canada, and from, the European countries and stuff, the US still hadn't kind of cracked the top. They hadn't been like the top team. But they're getting closer and closer and closer. So, I mean, this is just an amazing moment for that. And then to have the women's team be the top as well. So to have both the men and the women's teams be the top in the world at this point in time, I think this is another moment for hockey to where there's going to be generations of kids that are going to be like super interested in hockey on both the male and female side, being like, man, I want to play, which is great because it's such a fun sport. And the thing I really love too about just how this all went down and seeing how the teams respond afterwards is I don't know that I've seen in the other sports the camaraderie of team as much as I do in hockey. In
Yeah, I
football,
agree.
there's a lot more players involved. There's probably cliquish. You got offense and you got defense, and you got different coordinators doing different things. They're in meetings on their own and they're doing all their things. Yeah, they're teams in the end, but I don't think they're as unified as, when you look at this hockey team and the women's hockey team too. I mean, they're all just, man, they don't care about individual stuff at all. I mean, they're just all about team and winning, and it was really, really fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%
and
agree.
then the one guy got the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Well, not yet, but
What do you mean not yet? Wait, so I don't understand. Are you saying like it will arrive in the mail in the future or like it is not officially awarded?
it's
I
not
don't
officially awarded yet. I mean,
know.
he will award him one, but he was just like, yeah, he's going to get one, but he hadn't done it yet.
Oh, I didn't know that you could lie about that type of stuff.
Well, I don't know. He's lying. I mean, he's going to give it to him. He's going to give it to him. I mean,
Who are we talking about?
so
Is it Hughes?
no, no. Trump said that he's going to give Connor Hellebuck the Presidential Medal
Oh,
of Freedom.
okay. He
The
deserves it.
secretary,
Okay.
because he's the new Secretary of Defense. I mean,
That's great.
yeah, it is.
Secretary of
Pretty.
Defense is funny.
It is funny.
That
He
is,
was.
but I was watching the State of the Union and Trump was making me laugh at that point because he said, many athletes have won this. Actually, not that many, about 12. And
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I think he's funny, but man, people try to make it political and everything, and that's where too I'm like, come on, man. Here you got again the U.S. hockey team. It's been 46 years since they've won a gold medal. For the guys that play hockey, they've seen the movie Miracle. They've seen the last time the U.S. has won a gold medal in hockey. They want to win it. They want to win it and have that patriotism and that feeling. And they did it. And they're celebrating it. Like for anybody to like disparage them because they're going to the White House or they're turning this into a political thing and stuff, it's just stupid. It's dumb. I mean,
None of these
let these guys enjoy what they've done and what they've did as a team and the joy they've brought the country. I mean, if you can't find fun in this, then man, you're a fun hater, big time. Right?
yeah,
funny hater.
none of the hockey players on the US team were even born last time that USA
Yeah.
won a gold medal, so it's
Yeah.
pretty huge.
Oh, it's gigantic. Yeah.
If you win an Olympic gold medal and you get invited to the White House, you go.
Exactly. I mean, because they wanted to do this just like the 1980 team did. It doesn't really matter who the president is. They were going to go. They'd go if it was, they went when it was Jimmy Carter. They'd go if it was Ronald Reagan. They would, people have gone when it was Barack Obama. Now they're going when it's Trump. Who gives a shit who the president is? I mean, God, if you get invited, go. You live in the best country in the world, right?
Yeah,
Best hockey country in the world.
clearly.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah, that's what we say, right? The Canadians might not think so because they shot 42 times, but
Well, tell them to call me back in 4 years then. Like
they will. They will. They'll come knocking again. I assure you. But it's funny because like on ESPN, they already have, well, who's going to be on the 2030 team, because NHL players will still be playing then. So we have that to look forward to 4 years from now.
Also regarding the aftermath, have you seen the videos of the men's team really, really drunk out at their bars singing their songs.
Yeah,
Have you
looks
watched
like they're
any of
having a
these?
great time. I wish I could be there. Yeah,
Some of them are making me laugh. I've thrown out a few comments on Instagram, like, can we have this cover on Spotify? Like, this is just, it sounds just awesome.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they should enjoy it. It's been 46 years. Hey, why not? It's a lot of times people play their whole career and never win a championship. So something like this it's something they'll never forget. What a story. A lot of fun. We're closing out February, March. March can be fun though because you got some NCAA tournaments coming on. You got NCAA wrestling coming up. You got NCAA basketball and March Madness coming up as well. Those are two fun tournaments to watch. But also the wrestling is now on TV a lot more than it used to be in the past, and that'll be an interesting one too. You guys have any interest in either of those? I mean, Drew, you're a big Oklahoma Stater. I mean, God, they had a pretty tough wrestling squad. You into that?
You know, I really should be being from OSU, but I'm not. I couldn't tell you what's going on.
Well,
Well,
maybe
I'm
there's hope for you.
interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say I'm interested this year. My one of my jobs that I work is an NIL, and we rep a lot of really good wrestlers. One of them, I'm excited about. His name's Logan Rosinski, and earlier this season he upset the reigning NCAA champion. So I'll definitely be tuned in to seeing what's going on with the wrestling. Uh, that's gonna be happening.
Well, maybe we'll get one of my old buddies, to come on and talk about this a little bit. He's a former wrestling coach and has been to
He has a wrestling podcast.
he has a wrestling podcast as well. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And he's a decorated former wrestling coach and has been to all kinds of these national championships with the college. And if you've never been there, it's a spectacle when you're there. I mean, when the first rounds start out, there's 8 masks going. And man, it's the cool thing about wrestling is there's no ball involved. There's no stick. There's no racket. There's no net. It's just person against person. If it's men's wrestling, female wrestling, it doesn't matter. It's person against person. And they're just trying to dominate the other person. And so if you have an appreciation for that, and then once you see them going and you see the shape that they're in, and what they have to do to just fight through fatigue and everything else, it's really amazing. And there's a reason why many former wrestlers become MMA fighters, because they're just tough and conditioned and can deal with pain. That's
Mhm.
what the sport is. So it's a really fun tournament to watch. I think we should get him on here so he can enlighten us a little bit more about the experience. What do you think? Good idea?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
bring in Marty. He can help us tell us who to watch.
Yeah. And
I'm
then
also uh I'm
oh, go ahead.
also always down to talk about UFC if you guys ever want to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can get into UFC.
Yep. And then we'll get ready to talk about March Madness a little bit. So right now the teams they're getting ready to close out their regular seasons. That usually comes to a close about the end of February. And then early March is when the conference tournaments start. And then as the conference tournaments finish, that's when they finally arrive at the bracket for the NCAA championship. And so, bracketology is a big thing. People filling out brackets at work is fun and all that kind of stuff. We have a bracket that we were introduced to through friends years ago, and we've done it as a family. That I think this to me is one of the most fun brackets to do because it doesn't matter whether you know the teams or not. It's all based on a little bit of luck and chance, but it really keeps you tuned in to what's going on. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like how we do our bracket. We do it differently. It's not just analyzing who you think is gonna win type of thing. So I would love for you to explain it, Dad, so that anybody who's watching, maybe they might want to do it as well this year. And then we're definitely gonna do it between the three of us here, of course, and then we can have some fun talking about that as we progress through the tournament.
Yeah, so the best way to do the bracket is you wanna really get, like, 8 people involved, maybe even 16, because there's 4 regions in the NCAA tournament, and in each of those regions, there's 16 teams that start. So let's say, for instance, you have 16 people in your pool. Everybody throws in, like, $100, and then you go region by region. So you say, "Okay, the Midwest region, there's 16 teams." You put all the teams in a hat, and then you just blind draw. Each person blind draws a team, and that's their team for that region. So, and you do that for each of the regions. So if you have 16 people, 4 regions, you have 1 team in each region. So say I get stuck with some team that you don't think is going to win, like UMBC Retrievers, right? Do you know who they are? No, you don't, because of the University
Yes,
of
I do.
Maryland,
Maryland, Baltimore
Baltimore County
County. I knew
Retrievers, or
that.
whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. But the first round, maybe they play a big favorite this year. Let's say, like, oh, I don't know, Arizona, and they're underdogs by 25 points. If you have them, you're using the spreads. So if you have them and Arizona only wins by, 24 or less, then you steal Arizona, even though you lost the game because Arizona didn't beat the spread. Now you have Arizona. So, and this is the way the pool plays throughout the whole championship. So it's a lot of fun because it makes you pay attention to the spreads of the games, and you always have a chance, even if you have a team that's a dog, because the spread's involved. I really like it for that. I think that's the most fun bracket for me.
Yeah, it's like playing handicap golf. It's anyone's game.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're gonna make a bracket, I personally pull up 4 or 5 different tabs of 4 or 5 different analysts, and then I write them all down, and then I start aggregating scores based off of the different analysts' pick, and then I also have to go in and strategically pick some upsets, and then occasionally I'll pick teams just because I like them in certain ways. But I have a whole system, and it's been proven because I've won multiple work brackets through this system. I don't even really know what I'm doing, but what I do know is it's working.
All
So,
right. So
well,
so if you were gonna sell a book on your system, you really have nothing to sell because you don't know what it is,
that's
but
the
yet it
point.
Vibes.
works, right?
It's
Okay.
vibes.
All right. Vibes. It's a
Are
vibe
you
system.
winning? Are you winning? It's not vibes. It has logic behind it.
It sounds like it has a little bit of research, a little bit of logic, and then some. I really like these uniforms behind it as well. I
Well,
I heard all 3.
and I think that that makes sense because has anybody ever gotten a perfect bracket?
No.
Probably
No,
not.
never
Yeah.
in the history of March Madness. So we can't use only logic. We got to throw in some. You have cute uniforms, or I like your mascot.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I've had a great time in the last month, and the last, what was it, like 2 to 3 weeks watching the Winter Olympics. I think it's been fantastic. I think we're going to have a little bit of fun here with the NCAA tournaments coming up, and then we'll continue to work our way through. I think Drew had a pretty good idea. We were talking a little bit earlier today. We also need to get into maybe rating some things, like who has our favorite football uniform and stuff like that. So we'll get into a little bit of that, because we're probably pretty opinionated on some of these things. So,
We'll have a
Yeah,
whole episode on uniform design.
oh man.
we could. No, I'm just
We
thinking.
could do it. I know we could do it between the three of us.
Oh, it'd get heated. It would. So it'd be great.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. I say we do it. We're entering summer months. We're gonna have a slow,
Yep.
season here of sports things to talk about. So let's do a uniform debate episode for sure.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. Okay. So just to remind everybody, you've been listening to a podcast of three family members. My name is Scott. We have Nicole and Drew with me as well. They're my kids. I'm the dad. We're having a ball, and we call this Butterball. So subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes, give us a follow on Instagram too at Butterball Podcast. We're posting clips on there and other updates. So please give us a follow on there. Throw out your comments as well with who you think has the craziest hot takes out of the three of us.
Maybe give us some suggestions too if you want a uniform list or athlete list, something to debate each other over.
And we love to debate. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again next week, and enjoy the week.